peace is not absence of war. And Moon Jae-in, what he wants, the peace that he wants to achieve with the North Korean regime means the sacrificing 25 millions of human rights and basic right to life. Conflict sometimes is necessary. In order to fight for peace, we need to have conflicts. So as long as if you are truly a peace lover, you want the world peace and no one die from the war, then you should wish for democracy to prevail. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Yeonmi Park. I'm a North Korean defector human rights activist. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about where and how North Koreans get their news. So before I explain further, I want you to see this data. 71% of North Koreans get their news through word of mouth. Can you imagine that? Like literally, your news is coming from someone's mouth. Rather you turn on your TV or radio, you're gonna ask people. That's how they get their news mostly. Second way how North Koreans getting their news is through foreign radio. Those foreign radios through BBC, Voice of America, and some South Korean channels, those radios do have a major impact informing North Korean population. Then the domestic TV of North Korea is only 3%. It's such a good sign that when North Koreans watch their news and seeing Kim Jong-un and all this lying, they don't believe it anymore. They don't circulate their news anymore. And the other way that North Koreans get their news is South Korean TV and Chinese TV. But they are very little percent, only 2 and 3%. The last thing is party circulars. They really do not believe anything the party says. This is a good positive data, but it's also shocking way. People living in 21st century, they don't get news through the word of mouth. This is what our ancestors did. They told the stories, they told the wisdom, and that's what Bible, a lot of stories are like. It is a storytelling. And North Koreans are still living in that time. Only things they can rely on is the stories that they tell each other. However, these stories got to be very clever. North Koreans who have relatives who already escaped to South Korea, we call them and we tell them the news. You know, how Kim Jong-un is trying to lock up the country. We tell them how the rest of the world works. And this kind of news, the truth going into North Korea, and they circulate among North Korea's population. And sadly, as backwards as a whole this movement, it seems to us. However, this is a new step the North Koreans used to believe every word that came out of party. But now they actually believe in each other. And that's how they are started relying on each other and trusting each other. The number one thing that North Korean regime of course did was controlling the information and also planting a seed of disbelief in each other between North Koreans. They made us to always be paranoid of who's gonna be spy, who's gonna tell on me. But now North Koreans are finally finding each other more trustworthy than the party. However, all this wonderful trend that we have seen in North Korea, the changes that we've been making to informing North Korea is being reversed by current South Korean administration. I know some of you guys are just so full on the Western American politics or what's going on in Britain, Brexit, but so much news is also happening in Asia. That is by South Korea's Moon administration. You guys all have to watch out what is happening to South Korean population and the politics. South Korea, literally, like few days ago, they criminalized North Korean human rights activities in South Korea by the defectors.
South Korea's parliament passed a controversial bill prohibiting the flying of anti-Pyongyang leaflets across the inner Korean border. The bill was passed during the National Assembly's plenary session in a 187-0 vote, right after lawmakers of the main opposition People Power Party staged a filibuster to boycott it. The revision to the Development of Inter-Korean Relations Act outlawed sending leaflets critical of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un or his political system across the border. Any violators can face up to 3 years in prison or a fine of up to 30 million won.
So right now, for what I'm doing here, I actually can go to prison for up to 3 years or have to pay fine $27,000 by sending balloon launches. So I used to do this with my fellow defectors when those movies called Interview made by Sony Studio. When those movies came out, I went with Vice, the news group's team. We went to South Korea. We really literally went to near the DMZ and we launched those balloons. To letting North Korean people know that Kim Jong-un was a joke. He actually goes bathroom, he poops like us, he pees like us. That was the whole movie about. It was a very symbolic movie. For doing that, in South Korea, they criminalize it. The reason is because why they are doing this to North Koreans is because that Kim Yo-jong, the Kim Jong-un's sister, said, I don't like it. You have to stop it in order to have a good relationship with us. So South Korean Moon Jae-in administration right now, in the name of having a peaceful dialogue with North Korea, they are silencing defectors who have every right to have freedom of their speech. In free democracy, everyone have freedom of speech. And our freedom of speech is denied in South Korea. I told you in the past how I was treated like second citizen and a lot of discrimination that North Koreans are facing in South Korea. But there wasn't, there was systemically, there were actually racism. They say, for these positions, you cannot hire North Koreans because they can be spy. It used to be North Korean men who escaped to South Korea could not even go to military service because they say, we don't trust you, we cannot have you in our military. There's so many systemically, we were definitely discriminated. And this is another law that says, as a North Korean, you cannot practice your freedom of speech and you cannot launch these balloons to North Korea and informing North Korea's population. As I have been keep telling all of you that how fragile the democracy is, South Korean government is, it is a democratic system. It is democratically chosen administration Moon Jae-in is. But the steps that he is taking is very reversing what South Koreans fought for and what every free individual fought for. I mean, the Biden administration in South Korea, in America right now, are very looking forward to having a good relationship with Moon Jae-in. And this is very, very concerning to me because when people say they are the peace lovers, guys, they say, oh, I love world peace. I don't want any kind of war. And those kind of people are cowards and has no set of principles. Peace is not absence of war. And Moon Jae-in, what he wants, the peace that he wants to achieve with the North Korean regime means sacrificing 25 million of human rights and basic right to life. That's what he's sacrificing. And he, in the name of also peaceful dialogue, he is silencing defectors in this 21st century in free democratic country. This is not okay. This goes against the Human Rights Declaration that we made at the UN. All the conventions that we made, we came forward, it's going against all those basic principles. I'm really worried, and until that happens, I am not gonna be, before whatever the Biden administration gonna start with the Moon Jae-in, I'm not the ones to predict, and I'm just hoping that Biden will not follow the Moon's step to just please dictator, so he can have whatever they call the peaceful dialogue. I'm so sick of it that every time they say, oh, at least we are not fighting, we are not in nuclear war with North Korea. Does that mean everything is okay? Like that means everything's not okay. Conflict sometimes is necessary. In order to fight for peace, we need to have conflicts. And this doesn't mean that I'm at all supporting the nuclear war with North Korea. But this doesn't also mean that we should remove everything that threatens North Korean regime. We cannot live with dictatorship, guys. This is the one thing people get confused. The democracy never going war with each other. There was never cases two democratic countries going to war with each other and killing each other. Always authoritarian, dictatorship. As long as one side that, they can start the war and killing people. So as long as if you are truly a peace lover, you want the world peace and no one die from the war, then you should wish for democracy to prevail, including North Korea. Then we will never have to worry about the nuclear war ever happening in that region. I don't even know like how to raise alarm what this means to all of us in South Korea has been doing this work. And South Korea, that the country that we all looked up as a country that has a flourishing democracy, how fast they can go this direction and losing their moral consciousness, and they just bend their knees in front of dictatorship like that. This is alarming and this is scary. We all need to really wake up and fight for our rights before everything is taken away from all of us. I'm very grateful that you're in this journey with me to raise awareness, guys, and fight for freedom. I look forward to seeing you all next time.